I really acknowledge, thank you for the kind introduction. I really acknowledge Diabetica 2025 organizing team, Dr. Akash Singh, Dr. Pratap Jethwani, and all seniors, colleagues, delegates present over here. Thank you for being here, and it is my wonderful pleasure to address you all around. So, looking into the topic, the food problem in diabetes, the risk factors, prevention, and management. So, let's look forward why we are focusing it, why we want to focus it, what is the present scenario, and how can we scope up to the diabetic food problems, and what is required management. So, yes, the food has been always forgotten child of medicine. It is glamorous part of the body, but for healthcare provider, is it still glamorous part? Most feared complication in perspective of patients and most devastating complication in perspective of our healthcare providers. What we see is 25% of diabetic develop food ulcer in their lifetime. Diabetic foot is the commonest complications where hospitalization is much more indicated into, and diabetic foot requires longest hospital stay. 85% of amputations are preceded by tribal injuries, and diabetics are 40 times more likely to get legs or lose leg compared to non-diabetic individuals. 75% of all amputations happen in people with diabetes, and 1 million legs are lost over a year due to diabetes. Still, we lose 20 to 30 seconds a leg in 20 to 30 seconds, and in this 2 minutes we might have lost 4 to 6 all over globe. So this is a present scenario. How this magnitude of problem goes is goes and is going and going with our all efforts in it. Still, 80% of ulcers in diabetic subjects are preceded by external traumas. Even 4 to 10% of diabetic get diabetic foot ulcer in throughout the life, and that is a prevalence. Neuropathy is the major cause. Peripheral artery disease, foot deformities, callus, ill-fitting shoes, poor vision, elderly individuals, as well as nephropathy and poor glycemic control are all the factors responsible for diabetic foot problems. When we see the incidence, 40 to 60% are neuropathic, 25 to 45% neuroischemic, and 10% ischemic. What really, there are pathophysiology in the background of good glycemic control, and we lose the glycemic control, how it gets affected. But when we talk about clinical practice, yes, we have a few devices which can work or which can support us for neuropathic ischemic assessments and all around. So vibrotherms to handle Dopplers to foot pressure scans and all their indications in a line. So looking into the time frame, I would like to cover more on the management and prevention part. So we know and we use these instruments very well over a time and in our clinical practice. Even foot pressure scans to look into and thermal scans to diagnose the different inflammatory as well as temperature changes in a line. So I'll show these toes as well as heel. Though it represents normal on the normal, we know how the global scenario is looking into for diabetes. Previous IDF atlas is showing the reports of how the prevalence of diabetes. Still, food problem is scenario. We have diabetic foot care in our ancient time also represented with our mythological stories. Foot care, foot wash, and footwears, and these all still in a consensus. So still the facts and figures from that time to at present also not so appreciable. 25% diabetics develop foot ulcers in their lifetime, 85% amputations through tribal foot ulcers, and up to 85% of these amputations are preventable. Though we know it is preventable, but still the outcome of diabetic foot is like this. We know the prevalence is increased and foot ulcer prevalence is also increasing along with diabetes prevalence. And what could be 2045 where our young generations would be working and still they might be facing the same scenario in a line. What is still questionable is when we see the research as well as total grant allocation to the diabetes research, it is given 7 millions per year This is the 2014-18 scenario where only 0.17% is only dedicated to diabetic foot ulcer studies. So wide gap in the present scenario of helping the diabetic foot to get accustomed to used to and to empower the things. So when we think about research and development in the prevention of diabetic foot, so when we think about prevention, it is not only patient and doctor's responsibility, even the healthcare providers to clinical setups, to healthcare institutions, to community, technology, and even the government could be part into, and that could be a health ecosystem. We'll talk on that line. But what important is how we manage from primary prevention to secondary prevention to tertiary prevention, and what could be the further modalities, what could be in support. So primary prevention starts from the day of detection of diabetes. So good glycemic control, obviously the first focus, education of foot care, proper footwear, regular foot care, even repeated reinforcement for the foot care, footwears and good glycemic controls along with the foot monitoring is one of the key components in the primary prevention. Even modification and management of risk factors, all from the cessation of smoking to the lifestyle management, all around in that basket. And regular foot examination by experts. This is one of the key component to keep them on track for foot evolutions. Now, what is secondary management? So, management of foot ulcer. Yes, obviously, good glycemic control and metabolic control is one of the key factor to look into. And we know plenty of molecules had been discussed in Diabetica 2025 also, and we are master in it. But what lacks around is how we put them to good glycemic control. What is another factor is microbiological control. So when foot ulcer is around, there are US FDA approved therapies from antibiotics to the therapies of the debridements and all around. So when we see about antiseptic, topical antimicrobials and systemic antimicrobials. So when there is non-healing wound, the antiseptics and keep dry, that is primary focus. When there is healable wound but no infection, so cleansing with moist interactive dressings, and that's where no improvement of high risk, then maintain with the topical antibiotics and systemic antibiotics. When there is a wound infection, local infection to be covered as well as the deep infection is also covered. So local infection with topical antibiotics and deep infection with systemic antibiotics. You know, gram positive, gram negative organization covers, and broad spectrum antibiotics can be used to the further line if needed for a longer duration. If we talk about wound control, so what wound control could be focused into? So wound control could be for healable wounds or non-healable wounds, but the management goes from debridements to moisture management as well as the infection management. If there is healable wound, then aggressive regular therapy with maintaining moisture to the site for the healing, and topical antimicrobial agents as well as systemic antimicrobial agents on basis of wound distribution as well as affection can be looked into. Same if it is non-healable wound, then conservative management and keeping to the restriction to that site along with the avoid moisture to decrease the risk of infection to be looked into, and topical agents as well as systemic agent to prevent the further progression could be looked into. There are plenty of advancement had happened for the debridement of wounds. Yes, locally how we do it. Above that, even biodegradable debridements or maggots treatment had been looked into. Versajet has been looked into, and ultrasonic debridement. So these are advancement we can keep in mind, but still not used in clinical practice in that wide extent. Versajet, yes, with Versajet had been tried into, and they have been effective. Even the VAC therapy, where negative pressure wound therapy is looked into, where pressure vacuum is created, so protects the wound from external environments, environmental factors, then removes the exudates and infection material, reduce edema, even promotes the perfusions also. So ultimately the wound ground, the bed is created well with this VAC therapy, promotes granulation tissues in the line and maintain a moist wound environment. How it is placed, it is the suction has been created and the moisture as well as the drainage could be looked into, and that's where how the granulation bed is created along with the this VAC therapy is looked into for the better management. When we see about the wound control, so growth factors had been tried, and there are US FDA approved two types of growth factor had been looked into: platelet derived growth factors as well as epidermal growth factors in a line. So these are US FDA, but still limited usage has been used in Indian scenario. And if we see the scientific content or a publication in a line, then a limited numbers had been looked at for the further advancement or adding the value to the cost is around. Even hyperbaric oxygen therapy, monochamber or multiple chamber with delivery of 100% oxygen under increased atmospheric pressure for 90 to 20 minutes, where the mechanism of action is increased tissue oxygen perfusions, angiogenesis, fibroblast proliferation and collagen depositions, which enhancing the bacterial killing. And this could be tried for 5 days a week cycle with 20 to 40 cycles for the total therapy, and look for the wound, how it is progressing towards the healing side or how it is healed well. Even dermal regeneration matrix, US FDA approved. Even altitude rhythmic chamber looked into. Placental membranes as a graft could be looked into. And there are many emerging drugs from the debridements to the vasodilatations to the growth factors to the neuropathic drugs as well as antibiotics and inflammatory modulators had been tried, but still we are not getting those outputs which are benefited for the foot ulcers. Even octasulfate dressings, nitric oxide derived therapies, still the results not so prominent. So even multi-layered patch compositions, leukocyte platelets and fibrin, leukopatch. Now what I am showing in a line is US FDA registered trials in India for foot, and what is concerned about is the number of individuals enrolled into. So this is a least number, yes, what we get affected, and the interventions if we see, those are from insulin therapy to the other enrolled medications, where we don't have a holistic approach to look into. So ultimately there is wide gap from research to implementation. If we talk about vascular control, yes, surgeons has developed well. Drug improving the circulations we had tried. Intra-arterial thrombolysis as well as endarterectomy and angioplasties could be looked into. Mechanical controls, relief of pressure, non-weight bearing, crutches, wheelchairs, even mechanical offloadings, special footwears, air cast walker or total contact cars, even great foot labs are developed in India. Still, there are gaps between their performance and routine life. Why? The weight changes, the inflammation changes, and that to be made dynamics rather than static for the same around. And there are educational controls required for these diabetic foot ulcers to heal, because it takes time and the courage of patient as well as family members are required for longer duration. So education makes a mark. Now when I talk about management, but what we miss about what is the prevention and how the health ecosystem could work around. So in last 2 minutes to 3 minutes, I would really like to look into what is the scope around with this saying. This is a Chinese saying which says inferior doctors treat the full-blown disease, mediocre doctors treat the disease before evident. And when we talk about superior doctors, where we are here to upgrade our knowledge, then it talks about how we prevent the disease or their complications. So save a leg is one of the motto to look into how we can look ahead. The research and development in a line of not only prevention and amputation, but how we incorporate all the systems from patients to doctor to clinics to institution could be looked around, and there are plenty of scopes. Here we are, many of us from clinical practice, many of us are from institutional background, there are many from governance, and there are many from research side. So all are important in the present role. These are some of the points had been documented where all in a different angle play a team role and manage the foot ulcer prevention as well as manage the amputation to get happen. So in the clinical role, we can screen early, diagnose the neuropathies early, annually to be reinforced as the guidelines. Organized comprehensive multidisciplinary team approach could be implemented in clinical practice. Early approach for prevention of complications and intensive blood glucose management as a team could be looked into in the clinical practice. Even in clinical practice, we make sure the first examination of foot is vital for the feet care, and we say feet is a face of diabetic care management. So when we insist on what is important, the start with feet is a face of diabetes care management. When we talk about institution level, so improve case record maintenance, develop registry, good glycemic control monitoring. When those are not on target, then continuous compliant follow-up to be required, structure diabetic food management protocol, and then train the food trainers. That's one of the background. If we talk about community level, yes, public awareness, social media campaigns, focus on feed campaigns, target population, early prevention actions, develop a cost-effective protocols of awareness. Even Project Shravan, one of the initiative of ourselves, where mass feet washing ceremony could be implemented. These are one of the awareness campaigns where we have put forward the Project Shravans, how the food care and awareness could be represented, and one of the few acknowledgements how the Project Shravans had been. So these are one of the interesting cases where food is taken care and further level. So community level, all including building the support group team and training the cobblers. The cobblers which are, so I'll take 100 feet. Yes, cobblers are getting absoluted, but how we can implement those, I'll say advancement of their knowledge in feetwear is much more required, and how we can implement those to our present scenario is a question. So we can train the medical cobblers in a line. So current trust of healthcare systems in services towards the treating the prevention of communicable disease, even vaccines, mother and child health, nutrition, lifestyle based disease is coming up. Even government is taking obesity in a great level. So advocating that to the further level and bureaucracy is could be possible. Even the technology team could work on screening apps as well as triaging the whole scenario, and that could be based on how that could be licensed into. So all in that line, but ultimately it matters. It's not only the patient or the family, it's not only the doctors or consultant, it is all team approach, how clinical care, institutional care, governments, the research, the public community, and the all technological teams could be part in, and there could be many extension. If we think around, we play a role as a minute role that could be a part in a summary. Feet are face of our diabetes care. How we see those, make sure that that could be implemented well. Thank you everyone.
Thank you very much.